What another awesome opportunity
Such an opportunity.
we have in front of us. The one, the only, Brett Brenner from ESFI. It's
How
been
are
a
you?
while. I'm
Good to
good.
see you.
I'm doing good. Good to see you.
You too.
Very good to see you. So, Brett, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
I can do that. So I run the Electrical Safety Foundation International. So very close partners with Eaton, talking a lot about their gear, things like arc fault circuit interrupters, ground faults, all the companies that Eaton has acquired, a lot of things we deal with on that front too.
Yep.
So we're here talking obviously workplace safety, but we have everything from consumer safety all the way up to workplace safety that we're excited to talk about and promote and make sure safety remains front of mind. So
Nice. 1 second. You know the other thing we can do is that button right there. If we roll that, we can open the iris and get it brighter. Right in front. Nope. No. Right here. I'm sorry. Right here. You roll it back and forth. There you go. And that'll change the. Got it gone? Perfect. We were worried about lighting.
got it.
So ESFI, Electrical Safety Foundation International, you put out a lot of great materials to educate. And I know some of your materials are really great for homeowners. And I know electricians will download that information. They should download that information and share that with homeowners, because educating on safety, if you can get the homeowner involved in asking for the right solutions, or be prepared to say, I know about that, when their electrician brings that to the table. But you just don't focus on residential, do you?
No, everything from residential up to workplace. And I think the interesting thing when you start talking about consumers, we provide tools that you can better upsell your other products that you're putting out there. So as a contractor, if you're smart, you're utilizing other third-party validated sources like us and Eaton with the tools that you have to really get out there and sell products, but also sell your services and sell that you're looking out for their best interests as well. I think that's a very important part of the discussion. And they're not just looking for an electrician, yes, to put out this problem, to kind of create that partnership, if you will, to make sure that these things aren't long-standing problems. Do your electrical safety checklist that we have on our site, and I'm sure you all do as well. That you go through the home and just identify problem areas or things they might have other issues with, and you start to develop a relationship and start to install that stuff as time goes on. You keep them safe, you grow your business, and you're actually ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. And sometimes safety, especially like in an existing, we were talking about 7dB and maintenance, and you have an existing facility and you need to get it up to par. You don't have to do it overnight. You have to be aware. You have to understand the solutions, understand the hazards, understand what you can do to resolve those hazards, and then put a budget in place, put a plan in place, and maybe in 2 years and 3 years, at least you have a plan that you're building to increase your safety in whether it be in a residential, commercial building, an industrial facility.
100%. I mean, I think what we found as an organization, we realized it's kind of a circular economy where you really have to have not only the best stuff installed, right? But you need to be using it appropriately. So interoperability, right? So you're going to put solar, voltaics on your roof, or you're going to have, whatever the case is, electric vehicles coming on. You need to be thinking about this stuff to upgrade, but also plan ahead. And you're right, you don't have to do it all at one time. You can take this piecemeal, but the idea is to maximize the effect that you're getting out of this new equipment as you're putting it in. Have a long-range plan. Have things like surge protection, which is relatively new to the new to the curve, and it's like you start to eliminate downtime. Wait a minute, if you start to eliminate downtime, your C-suite's going to love that. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So think about these products that are out there that are going to eliminate a lot of the problems that you have. Thinking bigger picture and bringing in, again, even on the home side to the contractor side, don't be a one-shot wonder with these folks. And the people that you work with, you really need to be looking at this as a business opportunity with them to say, I can get you to where you want to go. Let's talk about what makes the most sense for you. I'll be happy to find out whatever problems you're having. We can figure out if there's financing things or whatever you need to come around that. But if you can improve efficiency, improve your downtime and all those other kind of great stuff, interoperability and all that kind of stuff, it just makes for an easier way to do business, develop new customers, business development. You don't have to go too far to look for new customers if your customers that you currently have are happy. So instill that in them. They'll be your best, talking heads that you want.
That's the best market. Somebody had made the statement about how they grew their business, and it was like they do something great for one person, and all of a sudden, was what's his name was here. He made the statement that that his senior leadership bought equipment around safety for all of his workers, and he said they were tweeting or they were chirping or whatever it was. They were just telling everybody because that's you do one good thing for a group of individuals and then it just spreads, you know, like wildfire. But also that one bad thing gets around too, probably even faster.
Well, the big thing, especially when we're talking about nowadays with employee shortages and stuff like that, and getting truly qualified people, which are super hard to find, people that you can truly trust, right? Even within your own company, everybody has their own go-to people. Oh, go to Bill. Bill knows what he's doing. He takes safety seriously, or whatever the case might be. You can go to Bill and ask Bill anything. So I think the thing that you got to remember is like, if you can instill more of those Bills in your workplace and actually have that as part of your business and keep those people, because you know, you're giving them the right PPE, you're giving them the right connectivity to make sure they're staying out of harm's way. Taking care of those people is going to retain those people. You don't have to go find out and replace somebody like Bill, because people are going to be looking to steal him.
Oh yeah,
right. So there's a whole component of this is, you know, it's like happy wife, happy life. I hear that all the time, but it's the same thing with employees. If you can keep the good people that you have, I know you and I have been around a long time at our organizations. Absolutely. That just speaks to the fact that we're passionate about it, number one. And number two, we have a skill set that's going to be very hard to replace. And it's actually easier for us to do the lift because we know this stuff like it's our back of our hand.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, in my tutorial on Tuesday, we were talking about the trade-offs and about the trade-offs and goals and objectives, and cost was one of those. And we all struggle with funding and trying to get support for either a safety program or solutions or whatnot. I know ESFI. Now, do you provide materials that an individual and an organization could use to help people understand the likelihood of possibility? Like we were talking about jumping out of a plane. There's places that have statistics on how many people get killed or injured jumping out of a plane, getting on a plane from A to B. But there are statistics around linemen, there's shock. And I know there are multiple organizations. Does ESFI have information and resources that someone would be able to use to help paint that picture for leadership?
Yeah, so the best way to describe the organization, the foundation that we run, is basically we look at the data points tell us a story. We look at the reportables to figure out what people are doing wrong, both in the workplace and at home. And then we craft materials, awareness materials that you can go out, utilize in your own unique way that tell the story of this is how this person's being killed. We can start to see trends and things going up and down. Like right now, we're dealing with lithium ion and battery storage, energy storage systems, which is becoming a bigger issue. We usually have lagging indicators. These new technologies, you're gonna have more and more customers looking to you to say, this new technology, I need to know about it, but I need you to tell me, like, what should I be worried about, right? So we give you as much information as we can of the lagging indicators, but it's also up to all of us to start talking about the future things. Battery storage, electric vehicle supply equipment. All this stuff should start to be part of our normal conversations. And who is a customer going to look for, or two as an expert? It's going to be the folks like Eaton and the customers that you serve, right? Your contractors. And so the more you know, the more educated your customers are going to be. And the more educated your customers are going to be, you're going to be able to teach them pretty quickly. They can save money, they can save time, they can do all the things you're looking for. And you start to build the case of, not only can I give you the statistics, but I can also give you the C-suite stuff that they're going to like in terms of the economic impact.
Thought about that. That's very important, because then it helps. And I was talking to Joe Ratchford too about how you have to talk one way to leadership. You talk a different way to those who are in the industry, in the business, in the trenches, so to speak, working, right? You talk to those who are out there in the working force, say, look, you want to get home at the end of the day, because you want them to be making the right decisions. No close calls, right? You want them to get home, you want them to be able to provide a likelihood or a livelihood for their families. But then when you look up, you need to be able to provide information for your management to say, look, here's what we're doing and why we're doing it, and it's good for the business. You know?
And I think too, is the close relationship you have with your suppliers and your contractors, they're going to teach you things that you didn't know, ways to upgrade your business. So lighting, different things.
Absolutely,
I mean, the lighting thing coming on, 70B coming online and requiring this stuff, there's going to be so much that you don't know in this space that your manufacturer partners can help the contractors educate themselves, better educate their customers, and turn that into positive business. But you're also limiting the potential of getting some kind of a fine levy to get
absolutely.
And so it's kind of a win-win-win across the board. Not to mention, there's more regulations than ever. And I think that you have to rely on your partners to kind of be your subject matter experts. Tap into those folks as much as you possibly can, because they're in business to keep you in business and vice versa. So it's a scratch your back, scratch my back kind of thing. And I think the relationships that you develop with your customers is a great thing.
Oh, absolutely right. It's very, very, see that? Look at this. This is what we have to contend with. People trying to make you laugh, you know?
Some people should be retired.
Some people should stay retired. But so you've been coming to the workshop for how many years now?
Probably going on 18. That's how long I've been in the organization. So, I mean, one of the things we were talking about at the booth is, some of the folks that are gray hairs, right? We didn't have those when we started, right? I'm getting them here, and you're winning on that one. Yeah. But literally, it's like the things we've been doing over 18 years. You look back when this started, when I pretty much graduated high school, it was just a thought. Hey, why don't we put together something like this? This is now, you got 400 people here, right? Yeah. They're talking about electrical safety from various different, from automotive, oil and gas, electrical safety, audit, services, assessment. Sure. I mean, you look around, it's not just the Eatons that you would expect to see. It's a bunch of other people that have contact points of electricity, and they're realizing it's dangerous for them and their employees. Oh, absolutely. So they're taking this stuff more seriously. So where this workshop has come in basically 30 years, which is roughly the same age as the foundation, is pretty amazing. And the fact is that, arc flash, we got in front of that so far. Right. We're actually limiting that stuff to one person a year is basically dying from arc flash. Because we've done such a great job with the components, with the awareness, with the PPE, with all the stuff that's out there, we actually headed that problem off. Whereas the rest of the world's suffering with that stuff still because they weren't prepared. That's one of the benefits of being in a really well-developed country that actually has a lot of new services being put in. Yeah. You upgrade that new technology, the new services. The cool thing that we're looking at now is things like wearables and all that kind of good stuff. Oh yeah. It's actually pretty cool. Like, the person can't be in harm's way if there's no energy and they're not even in the room. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. You avoid those two things, you're putting us out of business. Like, and that's the thing. My board is always telling me, like, your job is to put yourself out of business. Oh, absolutely right. And that's the truth. Yeah. So, you want zero hazards, and now all of a sudden, okay, I don't talk about safety anymore because it's inherent. And nobody's getting hurt, nobody's getting killed. I would tell you a little bit of an anecdotal story. So we've done some survey work recently. And over my time, as we've done these surveys, when we get the comments, a lot of times it's interesting. We actually get a ton of comments on our surveys about, like, hey, why don't you think about this? So we did an arc fault circuit interrupter survey. Yeah. And we found out that, number one, there's probably not enough energy in most modern day homes, and they're having to, overload outlets and things like that, overload circuits. Kind of expected, right? But what we didn't realize is that as we start to educate these electricians as they go out on their own, so let's say they work for a conglomerate company, a contractor, whoever, and then they go out on their own and start their own business. What they're finding is like we saw in the survey results, that basically people will start to tie together, like, your business isn't being as productive because we're talking about AFCIs and circuit breakers, but then they start mentioning things like surge protection. And they're like, well, that's some of the problem too. Like, you're losing some of these devices because of you have lack of surge protection. Yeah. Or did you think about this? Or did you think about? So we've actually pollinated enough in the younger generation by educating them. They become your Pied Pipers. That's a little bit of like what we do. It's pretty amazing to see those cross-pollination opportunities when you're looking for one thing and you see something completely different. Yeah. And those electricians now are in charge of some of these places that we never thought was going to be happening. So it's pretty neat that happen. That's insane. Yeah. There's so much. There's just so much. Yep. And we're all engaged. You have a booth here too. Yep. I have a booth. Come by. All of our information is free. I should probably mention that. Oh, yeah. Again, Eaton's been a huge supporter of us along the way, but we also get a lot from the relationship in terms of relying on you for codes and standards education and things like that too. So it's kind of an army that we represent everybody from the utilities all the way down to the end contractors. We have people on our board of directors, but all those people are now starting to talk more and more. Whereas before there was like, oh, I don't know if I should talk to them, or should I trust the manufacturer or the distributor, or are these people looking out for their own good? They really realize everybody has to work together to kind of advance the tide for everybody. Yeah. Oh yeah. And literally, this is our time as an industry to really show what we can do. We have long since relied on codes and standards and stuff behind the wall, things you can't see, like the panel board over here. Oh yeah. Yep. It's now time to say this stuff. None of this stuff would happen if it wasn't for folks like us. Oh, absolutely. And that includes the contractors and the electricians that do the grunt work, but they're the ones that make that stuff happen. Oh, and you can drive by 30 years from now, right, and say, I helped build that stadium, or I helped do this. Absolutely. That's a cool thing to be able to tell your kids. Regardless of where you lie on the pecking order, you can have a piece of that. Absolutely right. And we need more of those individuals in the industry. Yep. So we need people making that decision,
young people to say, what kind of career do I want? There is a career in installation, whether it be electrical, HVAC.
Yep.
You never know where it's going to take you. You could own your own business in the future.
That,
right?
Or you can get into the other side of things, which is half of your all's business is software.
Yeah.
So it's the IT side. It's the smart side of things that maybe we're not even talking about.
Absolutely.
There's a whole different angle to who Eaton typically employs is much different now than it was, even 5 years ago.
Oh, absolutely right. It's a
So,
lot.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. Cool.
Thank you. Thanks for what you do, brother.
Absolutely. Good
I
stuff.
appreciate it. All right, Brett.
All right. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All right. We said greetings to ESFI from Robert from Omaha. Excellent.